Greetings, one and all, to the most cursed, most cringiest corner of the internet. A YouTube channel content creator actively alienating everyone in both the analog and digital world. Well, welcome and good evening, wonderful dice of all alignments. I am Lunar D8. This is Let's Play Higurashi When They Cry. Kai. Tsumihoroboshi. Game 6. Start. Tsumihoroboshi. Atonement Chapter. How is your reasoning toward the truth coming along? The next tragedy is ready for you to enjoy. This is ready for you. Enjoy. This is a humorous story with a tragic struggle at the end. The difficulty is 0. You can just enjoy the clowns milling about. The first fall. The first time I would try harder to avoid the inevitable tragedy. The second time I would be disgusted with the inevitable tragedy. The third time I discussed returning to anguish. The seventh, I'd be laughing by then. Frederica Birkenstell. This is a work of fiction. Any resemblance to actual persons or organizations is entirely coincidental. The chorus of the higurashi had replaced that of the cicadas. What is actually the difference between higurashi and cicadas? Their cries came from a distance, echoed loudly, and then faded away. They sounded so weak and fragile. Rena's voice was just like the cries of the higurashi. She'd say something, but the words would quickly fade away. She sounded so fragile that it made me worry. She might vanish into thin air along with her words. But nobody is pressuring her to continue. Mion dusted off the hood of the abandoned car and sat down on it as if to show how relaxed she was. She actually did look very relaxed, as if she came here to enjoy the cool breeze of the evening or something. Satoko followed Mion's example and sat down as well. She didn't look nearly as relaxed, however. I thought about following suit, but it felt rude to look away from Rena, even for the short time it would take to look for a place to sit down, so I decided to remain standing. Rika-chan didn't sit down either, but she wasn't looking at Rena. Everybody else was looking at Rena, but Rika-chan was looking at the red sky. Rika-chan's expression was hard to describe. She looked pale and blank at the same time, as if all of her emotions were gone. Rena wore the same kind of expression. She kept trying to say something, but it seemed like the words were stuck in her throat. She noticed Rika-chan was looking at the sky, so she decided to look that way as well. Mion did the same. So did I. Satoko looked that way too. And with that, there was silence. It was like we were in a concert hall filled with the chorus of the higurashi, a concert hall with the highest roof in the world. A refreshingly cool breeze tickled our sweaty bodies. I could almost make myself believe we came here to enjoy the breeze and the sunset. I could only wish that was what we came here for. The shadows of the birds flying across the sky soured the feeling of our quiet concert. They reminded us that time hadn't stopped. Nobody wanted to pressure Rena. We didn't want time to pressure her either. We wanted to keep the cool, red sky as long as we could, so Rena could calm down and talk. Right then, I heard a sound, and it brought us all back to reality. The hood Mion was sitting on had made a noise when she moved across her legs. I don't know whether Mion made the noise on purpose or not, but it reminded us that time had been passing by. The noise took our attention away from the sky and back to the ground. Such a tasteless noise seemed to have urged Rena to speak. Rena heaved a small sigh, nodded as if she understood something, and looked at us like she always did. There's one thing I want to say. Before anything else, she was probably saying it to everybody, but since I'm standing in the middle of her looking at me, I nodded to her to represent our agreement. I think I did the right thing. Her voice wasn't hoarse anymore. She sounded just like she always did. I wonder how much we're allowed to struggle in order to be happy. It sounded like a question, but nobody answered. That's why I really like Mii-chan's club. The one rule is do whatever it takes to win, right? I think that's wonderful. If we were only allowed to do nice things, and if there was a limit to how much we could struggle, people who aren't happy wouldn't be able to seize happiness at all. Misfortunes are like a chain reaction, I think. Once they begin, they're very, very hard to escape. In order to escape the chain of misfortunes, you need more than just luck or even assistance. I think you need to struggle as hard as you possibly can. You need to do your best. That's how you seize the true happiness. That's what I believe. Rena stopped talking, looked up, heaved a sigh, and opened her mouth again. But I'm not saying that I expect you to accept what I did. I know that was a very bad thing to do. Didn't you all look stunned a while ago? That tells me everything. I've never seen her smile so self-derisively like this. That smile looked unbelievably painful. I could really feel how huge the distance between us was. There's nothing physically there, but I felt as if she's talking to us through iron bars or a chain link fence. That's how great the distance between us was. But it's okay. There's nothing we can do about it. That's just how things are in this world. If I were you, I'd probably look just as stunned, and I'd say something irresponsible and merciless. She probably said that to hit back at us. We're just putting on a mask of sympathy, enjoying the spectacle of a clown on the stage. That's why she said that. She probably expected us to say something in return, but none of us knew what to say. Rena looked disappointed for a moment, then turned and clambered on top of the abandoned car. Then she spread her arms out and gave a little twirl, letting her skirt billow up before she grabbed both ends and gave us a graceful curtsy. Well then, are you ready for a story? This is the story of how Rena Ryuugu did her best. There was no curtain or spotlight. She was atop an abandoned car amidst the trash piles, a stage specially made for her. We tried not to miss a word of what she was about to say. We believed that was the least we could do to not hurt her feelings. Chapter 6. Tsumihoroboshi. Higurashi when they cry. Kai. Game 6. Let's say it's a winter month, like December right now. What would you do all of a sudden if you had a week of hot, humid days with crying cicadas? Would you still wear your coat and scarf? Absolutely not, right? Even though it's still June, it's already summer to us, since we've been having hot days for so long. So it's totally okay to do this kind of club activity in June. At my school, everybody usually does what they want in PE class. But today would be an exception. All my classmates were gathered in the schoolyard. Mion looked over everybody gathered there, and then spoke up loudly. Hey everyone, you ready? See you guys in the next video. Thanks for joining me, and I hope everyone has all the hugs and head pats you could ever want. And just remember, you are enough. So,